The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
Where the city lights don't shine, I live my life the simple way, and you know I'm doing just fine. I fish, I hunt, and I shoot my guns, and I raise a little hell. The things I do, you know I do them well. This is my America, and I'm so proud. I don't mind, I say it loud. This is my America, God bless America, land of the free, because of the brave. This is my America.
Welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us tonight. So it's good to be here. I actually missed last week and a couple of other shows during the New Year and Christmas, so it's good to be back in here.
We're going to dock your pay. Check your next paycheck.
Do that. Of course, as always, this is Armed Alabama, and we are going to discuss your self-defense, firearm and ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, proper range etiquette, of course, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida law, because we, believe it or not, even though we're Armed Alabama, we have lots of listeners from South Mississippi and West Florida. So glad that each of you can join in and listen to us tonight. And, of course, the judge is here to talk about all those things and, of course, federal law. And if you have a comment or a question here, you can call us here at the studio, 251-343-0106. Judge, I don't know if I wasn't here last week, so I don't know if you gave our listeners a chance to call in and talk about what firearm they had under the Christmas tree.
Well, I think I asked for people to call in about gifts when we had call-ins, but I don't know that anybody called in about a gun. So.
Well, we want to hear specifically what you had under the tree. Of course, as the judge says, it's not Christmas unless a firearm or a gun is under the tree.
It ain't Christmas unless you got a gun, unless there's a gun under the tree, and I've got that in my famous quote page that I keep up with, which I have a new addition to that it deserves. This is talking about the Federalist Party, Hamilton Big Debt Party. And Jefferson wrote, "A little patience, and we shall see the reign of witches pass over, their spells dissolve, and the people recovering their true sight restore their government to its true principles. It is true that in the meantime we are suffering deeply in spirit and incurring the horrors of war and long oppressions of enormous public debt." So,
oh my God, sounds like it's wrote for today.
Sounds like Nancy Pelosi, the reign of witches.
Yeah. I was actually at a town hall meeting quite a few years ago where somebody got up and asked about the Wicked Witch of the West, Nancy Pelosi. I thought that was hilarious.
I was going to say, I thought the Wicked Witch of the East was supposed to be more powerful, but the house dropped on her, so I guess not. I wonder would a armor-piercing round, any kind of super-duper round kill either the Witch of the East or the Witch of the West, or are they just impervious to firearms?
Maybe, but
question.
Not impervious to a house, apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
Or water.
That's right.
So speaking of firearms, Judge, let me tell you about my new favorite thing. And my new favorite thing is, of course, during the holidays, being ill, I just kind of sat and cruise the internet and watch YouTube videos on firearms.
Gun porn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my new favorite thing is the Innovative Arms Integrated Suppressed or Silenced, whichever you like, CZ Scorpion in 9mm.
Yeah.
So
that was an Eastern Europe. The Scorpion design was
yes.
an Eastern Bloc design back years and years ago.
Right. So and of course it's a polymer firearm, and Innovative Arms have taken that and they have put on a integrated suppressor. And it's also a speed reducer. I don't know how we would say that other than it reduces
Makes it
the velocity of the round, regardless whatever round that you're shooting. It doesn't have to be 147 grain or 158, whatever.
Because we know part of the noise is it breaking the sound barrier.
The crack, yeah, the crack downrange. Anyway, I watched several YouTube videos where they had a regular AR 9mm, which is actually what I was going to go with. I was going to go with a suppressed 9mm, real short barrel AR platform, and until I've seen some of the videos on this Innovative Arms, and they had a 9mm suppressed AR. They had a regular full-length 16-inch barrel Scorpion, and then of course they had the Innovative Arms integral suppressor.
Now, I assume since it's made into it,
it's very short.
It's still a National Firearms.
Yeah. You still have to get your
get
little stamp on it and everything else like that. But it was extremely
if our Republican
quiet.
friends in Congress had done what they said they were going to do, we wouldn't need to.
Exactly, you wouldn't have to do that. But now you still have to get the stamp and everything. So, but it was extremely quiet. It was extremely short. And I really, really like it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with kind of the regular Scorpion. I don't think I've seen that one.
So now I'm going to save my my allowance and save my ice cream money.
Yeah,
and
dividends from the show.
That's my next purchase there.
Well, I brought a show and tell. This is obviously a machete. And the reason I'm showing it to you, when were we married? 86. I brought this back from an island in the West Indies over my shoulder onto the plane, sat down and had a drink, and nobody cared. And, I mean, you couldn't even get that near an airport without somebody going.
What a different world we live
crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So, but I tell you, good machete is not – I tell you, the best tool if you're out clearing stuff. I was sharpening stuff this weekend is it's called sometimes a bush axe or a brush axe, it's on a big, 4-foot handle. Boy, you get those sharpened and you got some power. I mean, it's still better to have somebody else do it for you, but sometimes that's not possible. Folks, I'm going to throw it out now for those of you that may need to think about it. James Madison was, of course, President of the United States. I won't say he's the father of the Constitution, but he was an integral part in drafting the Constitution. What college did James Madison graduate from? If anybody knows, you will win a copy of Paul Brusky's book, The Last Siege, the Mobile Campaign, Alabama, 1865, which if you're watching on Facebook, which is FM Armed Alabama Radio FM Talk 1065, you can see it or see it replay later, but you can win The Last Siege by Mobile author Paul Brusky, and it's about really the last battle of the war, major battle. I think San Jacinto Ranch or one of them was, but last major battle. So what college did James Madison attend? And back then people attended college at like 16. And then most of the entrance requirements were like Latin, Greek. There's not a person in this town that could have gotten in any of those colleges. So,
and we've had Paul Brusky on the show several times.
Yeah, and he was
definitely a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, he was in one time you were out when we had. I think it was our Christmas show. We taped it a day early, and we had a good time that. And we were talking about quotes and all. And I remembered one that somebody actually told me. We were having a competency hearing to determine whether somebody was sane enough to be tried. And the man said, after the psychiatrist testified, "Judge, a crazy man don't know he's crazy." So That's one quote I made sure I wrote.
I like that.
Crazy man don't know he's crazy.
I'm going to remember that,
yeah,
too.
and that's true when you think about it. Well, looks like we're up against the first break. Our number here is 251-343-0106. If you know the answer to that question or want to talk or comment, you can also text a comment into that same number at Armed Alabama Radio. FM Talk 106.5 here in Mobile, 251-343-0106. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Little pigs, let me come in. Not by the hair on your chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Here's Johnny.
At that point, you shoot through the door.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to be worried about getting in trouble. Your threat identification is fine there. If anybody remembers that movie, that was The Shining, with Jack Nicholson and, I can't think of the lady's name. He was screaming right then. But, by the way, if you liked the movie, read the book. I'm not usually one that does that, but I did, and the book is much better than the movie. And remember the bartender, I'll think of his name too, but Shelley.
Shelley, no, what Duvall? No, what was her name?
Is Shelley, maybe it is Shelley Duvall. No, it's Shelley. Well, we'll think it up in a minute. Adam, somebody messaged us and said the Hearing Protection Act has or will be reintroduced, but if we couldn't pass it when the Republicans had House and Senate, how on earth would we pass it?
I don't think we even have a chance.
Now I think they're just politicking us. And, I hate to wish anybody ill health, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg is on her way out. There's just no question about it. She's 80-something, had operation for lung cancer, hadn't been back. And, that's a good, nice, long life. But it will be a heck of a fight there to get somebody through, and I hope Trump will put who he thinks is best and not just appoint a liberal professor.
You think it'll exceed the Kavanaugh hearings?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it'll make that
look what if he nominates a woman? Is a bunch of men going to come forward?
Well, if he nominates the wrong kind of woman, they're going to say that she's, whatever.
Well, you know.
Remember when Bush nominated the woman from Texas to be his first AG. This is Bush II. Remember, they caught her on the nanny tax, and they went after her. So you got to have the right philosophy. It doesn't matter race, sex, gender. You better have that right philosophy too. Looks like we got a phone call from Jeff. Let's take the call. Hey, Jeff.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I called to try to answer your question.
Go ahead.
James Madison graduated from the College of New Jersey.
You got it, and we were a little tricky. Some other people said Princeton. Yeah, it was changed to Princeton later, but it's College of New Jersey. And you got it, and don't run off. I'm going to give you back to Paul in just a minute you can Phil, I'm sorry. So you can we can get your address. Unless if you're around where the station is, you can pick it up. Otherwise, we'll drop it in the mail. It's probably just as easy.
Mail's great.
That'll be good. Anything else going on?
No, that's it.
Good. Phil, hold on just a second.
Jeff, one other thing. Did you get a firearm on the tree this year?
No.
Yeah,
I did not.
I didn't either, so I guess we really didn't have Christmas then.
It just wasn't Christmas.
I'm shooting for a new one this year.
Good. Yeah, there's always another one.
I did get ammunition, so I was close.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Jeff. Hold on. Yeah, I hate it to be tricky, but, that's like saying somebody graduated from they graduated from Livingston College, in 1952, and now they didn't graduate from the University of West Alabama. They graduated from Livingston. But good try to the couple that answered Princeton. I was looking for any, the laws that they're pushing this year, in addition to just banning all guns, are these so-called safe storage laws, where you've got to if you have children in the house or whatever, and you've got to have them locked up in a safe, and if you don't, And that's the same kind of law that caused the 2 or 3 children out in California to get killed by a maniac with a pitchfork when their parents had gone out. The kids all knew how to use the firearms, but the parents locked them up, and just a really total psychotic came in with a pitchfork. He may have killed all but one. But, that's just something. Hey, yeah, if I leave a loaded gun on the table and a neighbor's kid comes in and gets shot, I've got to bear first the moral responsibility and perhaps the legal. You just don't need the government. We've gotten along pretty well without the government, considering there are more children that drown in hot tubs and jacuzzis and bathtubs than are shot accidentally each year.
Yeah, and there's products now. They're very innovative products, and right now I can't think of some of the companies, but they actually have hidden or false walls within mirrors or desktops or something like that, where you can place a firearm in it, and sometimes they even have magnetic triggers.
Yeah, and even the small safes. I did a TV show for one of the stations, and I mean, it was like 4/10 of a second.
Yeah, with the biometric locks and stuff. Yeah. So there's lots of options out there if you feel that having your farm, unless you feel that you need that, there's lots of options. Or if you feel like you're fine and keep them out of reach, or
and I would
educate
have done that
the children
when my
as well.
children were young, not necessarily my children, but for their friends.
Sure, and I do the same with my house. My firearms are out of reach.
But when you don't have a child problem, and you have a number of guns, like we always you consider all guns being loaded. So why not have them loaded and have one in your family room where you spend most of your time, or your den, or your kitchen?
Yeah, several rooms in the house.
And as I always say, I've got a stainless steel in the bathroom closet. Can you imagine anything worse than you're taking a shower and you hear the Jack Nicholson character, chopping through the door, and you don't have any clothes, you're wet. But you retrieve your stainless steel. Doesn't necessarily need to be that, but that helps with the moisture. And you got it. But that would be a terrible predicament. So, you got to think like a criminal, and most people don't. The way to find out if your house can be broken into is lock yourself out once, and then you'll find out where the phone. Oh, yeah, I remember that back window lock doesn't work or whatever. So you can find a way to get back in there.
And Judge, you stated numerous times over the years that there's lots of proceedings or hearings that you presided over that the criminals just walked in the door that was unlocked, or the window was unlocked. It was nothing that they were breaking.
Like they had to even force their. We know that most entries are through a door, but so many of them are through an unlocked door.
Correct.
And I don't think it's people forgetting. I think it's just there's some people that think there's just there's not a care in the world, and just because you lock the door doesn't mean you're paranoid. Just because you have a fire extinguisher doesn't mean you're hoping a fire starts so you can put it out. And because you keep a gun in the house doesn't mean you're hoping somebody breaks in.
Or paranoid. Or if you conceal carry, somebody might label you as paranoid.
Right.
But you are well within your law and within your rights to conceal carry.
And it's just a prudent thing to do because you never know what's going to happen. Now, we've talked about don't go charging out in the night if you don't know who's there. But I had one of my employees that had no firearms, and I said, finally got her to. I said, just get a Ruger 10/22 and just have it with some ammo, just in case a hurricane keeps us all knocked down for 3 or 4 weeks. Who knows what could happen? Having a gun in there could be the difference between life and death.
I'm going to tell you, with a 10/22 with 22 long rifle is absolutely devastating.
It's perfect for people who are a little scared of guns.
Sure.
And you fire, 5 or 6 rounds at somebody with that, you're going to kill them.
Absolutely.
And they're fun guns. And one thing about them, they're so popular. You can buy barrels for those. Olympic shooting type barrels. They cost more than the gun does originally.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of customization.
And they have spoilerized kits for those things to make them, shorter, easier to handle, easier to use.
Yeah. Ruger 10/22. I think it just passed 50th anniversary. Would that be right? Maybe so.
Judge,
it's been
what's
around
the
a long time.
significance
Yeah.
of the 10? I mean, I've heard of 22.
Yeah,
pistols
that's a
and
good
rifles.
question. I don't know. Probably, maybe it holds 10 rounds. I don't know.
Or is it just maybe the model number?
Well,
I guess.
and it could be. I'll see for you real quick because I'm not usually good with numbers. I like a Bobcat or whatever. I don't.
I just thought maybe it talked about how many bullets it would hold.
While you're looking for that, Judge, I want to respond to a text we have in on our text line, and that's 251-343-0106. And David from Dauphin Island asks, I like Glocks, and I am looking for a concealed carry. Do you have any advice? And so if you like Glocks, then I definitely recommend the Glock 43. I've actually shot that on numerous occasions. I'm not really a Glock fan, but for a concealed carry, and if you're a Glock person, a Glock 43 is really nice.
Put one in your hand, though, first. Go down to McCoy's Outdoor and just, whether you buy it there or not, they'll tell you about it. But you want to it may be a great gun, but it just feels strange in your hand.
All Glocks feel kind of strange in my hand.
Well, me too. They feel kind of blockish, brickish.
As far as the functionality and the shootability of a Glock, I like it. I really do. I really like them. McCoy's has got a great selection, not only Glocks, but all kind of handguns. Yep. Tell them that Armed Alabama sent you. And we'll be right back after this break with more Armed Alabama.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Survival kit contents check. In them you'll find 145 caliber automatic, 2 boxes of ammunition, 4 days concentrated emergency rations, 1 drug issue containing antibiotics, morphine, vitamin pills, pep pills, sleeping pills, tranquilizer pills, 1 miniature combination Russian phrase book and Bible, $100 in rubles, $100 in gold, 9 packs of chewing gum, 1 issue of prophylactics, 3 lipsticks, 3 pair of nylon stockings.
Shoot, a fella could have a pretty good time in Vegas with all that stuff. That's at the time, Adam, of course. Us conservatives, we didn't like the USSR because they murdered millions of people and were threatening us with missiles every week. But now that they're Russia, the Democrats love them, and because we don't want to attack Russia, they think we're in cahoots with them. It's really the darndest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. I guess they're always going to be the opposite. And I want to thank Steve Moore and the Moore Law Firm. They're a personal injury law firm located right here in Mobile, Alabama. You're not calling an 800 number somewhere. Personal injuries, a car accident, slip and fall, product injured you, something like that. And they're located at 8 North Dearborn Street in Mobile. That's downtown Mobile, about a block off the square. You can call them at 251-445-7602 or see them on the web at www.morelawfirm-al.com and tell Steve hello. He and I went to law school together, and he was much brighter. Made much better grades, I guess. Of course, I used to always tell my father, why aren't your grades? Everybody else cheats. Right?
If it works, go for
That's
it.
That's right. Mainly because I don't spend enough time studying. How about that? The truth hurts. I'm trying to think of new laws that I have seen around the country that are coming into effect. California has got, just the most onerous. It's just every day they're thinking of new ways to harass gun owners. There is trying to think, there's a suit sitting before the Supreme Court that I heard about today, and if it comes to me before we finish, I'll let us all know. But, that's the problem. Again, it shouldn't be the Supreme Court. We shouldn't be worried about who's going to be on the Supreme Court. They're playing with our rights, and it wasn't ever meant to be that way. But the evil John Marshall, who I'm writing something on, if you put in John Marshall in Google, you'll put greatest Chief Justice, justice that saved America. They never point out his ethical problems he had. Like he had a case that he was a litigant in, had ownership interest that went before the Supreme Court, but he recused himself. He steps aside, but his best friend Joseph Story ruled for him. I mean, it's just bad news, you know, but that's what you will see. All kind of praises like that. And he and Hamilton probably did more to turn the country from the original perspective that Jefferson and Madison, et cetera, had into this, you know, empire that we've got now with trillions of dollars in debt, military bases all over the world, et cetera. But water under the bridge. I'm going to try John Marshall and just see what we get right now because it's incredible. And besides, he supported the Alien Sedition Acts, which made it illegal to criticize President Adams, I almost said Democrat, the Federalist Congress, the government. You could criticize Vice President Jefferson if you want. He wrote a very scathing defense of that act, but in recent biographies, they've just left that out. So it's
revisionist history.
Yeah, it really is. When you're on their side, they really got you. Let's see if we got.
While you're looking that up,
yeah.
Judge, I'd like to take this opportunity to proudly announce that we have a handshake agreement with SRT Mobile and Dino Washington there. And we'll be,
the new indoor shooting range.
Yeah, it's a new indoor shooting range. It's an extremely nice facility. And this starting 2019, we'll be conducting self-defense or home defense concealed carry classes in the SRT Mobile facility. And we're really excited to be doing that. It's a really nice facility. Like I said, it's got upstairs, downstairs, a shooting range, meeting
just
rooms,
don't bring
classrooms,
armor or green tip ammo there.
Yeah, you can shoot pistols, any type of pistol round, and you can shoot if you have an AR or anything else like that. It shoots 5.56 or 2.23.
Great for
you can use it in the facility there.
A lot of people want those for home defense, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
to practice.
So be on the lookout. Because we're going to start posting classes and talking about classes. So looking forward to that. And
Adam, that's on Cody Road?
Yeah.
And is that just south of Grelot or Cottage Hill? I never can remember.
I think it's between Airport and Old Shell, isn't it?
No, it's actually it's just south of Grelot.
Okay.
Yeah, on Cody Road.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I say,
once I get out,
really nice facility. Dino and his family there are really, really good. Of course, we'll be talking about your self-defense, concealed carry considerations, whether it be holsters or clothing. We'll talk about the basic NRA 7 points of shooting: stance, grip, sight alignment, sight picture, trigger control, breathing, and follow through. We'll talk about all the different failure drills if you're running an auto-loading pistol.
Yeah, and different options, whether semi-auto, revolver, or carbine.
And the thing about SRT is they have lots of firearms there to rent. If you're not really sure what you like, they've got different options there. Of course, Judge, you and I, we have lots of different options for our students.
A variety of things, but I tend kind of towards one style, which, like I don't have a Glock. And, the Glock, I deliberately don't have a Glock probably because they're so popular. And I just don't want to be part of the in crowd.
Hey, Adam, don't they have a special kind of muffs to wear also?
Yeah, SRT does. They have, you can bring your own hearing protection, or they have the it escapes me right now.
Electronic.
It's electronic ear protection that actually you can hear people talk, but as soon as the firearm goes off,
for an instructor, those are great.
They are great.
They're a little hot, but you won't be there. But
so as soon as a gun fires, it cuts off the sound.
It's hard to imagine. It's just instantaneously. And then you can turn them up high, and it's kind of like a hearing aid. You can hear better than you would normally. But, don't ask me. I spent a lot of time investigating it, and I bought some that were probably too expensive. And then you got to have the gel inserts, and I didn't need those. Were about $70.
And Adam, didn't you tell me, or one of you did, that they have a laser tag area also?
They actually have a room there that actually has I'm trying to think how you call it. It is a laser. The
that's
firearms,
where I spotted Adam. Man.
Yeah, they have firearms that emit laser beams, but you watch different
targets.
Well, no, you watch different scenarios that are projected onto the wall, and it actually reads the laser fire from the firearm, or and it also.
So if it's a hit, it
the
scores
firearm also has. CO2 cartridges in it, so you have the blowback to simulate a real fire when you pull the trigger. But you can do those simulators. They have regular like bank robbery simulators. They have target simulators, and they have, of course, zombie simulators.
In which you and my
whole
collection.
Have been promoting.
I had to try them out. I had to try them out there.
Y'all have been promoting zombies since this show started.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lot of zombies out there.
So excited about teaming up with SRT to do classes.
Sure.
Of course, we did classes,
and we may still
across the bay.
Be over
Absolutely, Three Brothers Arms is a great place to go if you're across the bay, and we hope to continue doing classes there going through 19. But if you're on our side of the bay here in Mobile. Definitely be looking for our classes.
Especially so many people live in western Mobile. So.
And it's an indoor range.
By the way, hang on. I can't see who's on the line. Hang on just a minute. I wanted to announce, if you hadn't heard, now this seems a wacky situation because in Alabama, sheriffs are constitutionally elected. They're independent office. But in Florida, the governor can remove the sheriff. Here, I guess you could impeach the sheriff. And the new governor, Ron DeSantis, removed that idiot Sheriff Israel down in Florida. Did
he really?
Yeah.
My God, that's amazing.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. So
that guy
is good.
Is an absolute leftist idiot.
Yeah, that's when I knew Rick Scott was kind of a wuss. Republican governor there, and he wouldn't get rid of this guy. He went along with all the ban the gun crowd and the hog kid and all that nonsense, but DeSantis did it, and that's good because I don't know whether you read that article, a part of it from the Miami Herald, I guess. It just went through the mistakes. It was just unbelievable. Let's grab Mike down in Grand Bay. Hey, Mike.
All righty. I mentioned something about that songwriting last week, but my voice hadn't been right since before Christmas time. I mean, my voice cuts out and all. It's like I'm getting laryngitis.
I would recommend Z-Pack if I were a doctor, which I'm not. So, and you know what? And don't talk. Which when I would have that, every couple of years as a judge, it was terrible because it would shut the court down. So I'd have to spend about 2 or 3 days not talking, which is very, very difficult.
I sang, we used to sing and play at the Response Center down in Balabatry and all that, and I have been known for having a very, very strong voice.
Yeah.
When I sing,
Well, it's frustrating,
isn't it?
My
voice is cutting out like crazy since Christmas time or a little bit before that.
But get it checked. I don't want to scare you at all, but I had a law partner that he had the same thing for months and months, and it wasn't laryngitis. It was some kind of aneurysm that was pressing on the nerve to his voice box.
Goodness.
Yeah, so he was taking antibiotics and doing all that kind of stuff. So
we're about to go to break, Mike. What you got for us tonight?
I was going to tell you one of my crazy little stories, but anyway, I was in South Carolina one time, and I was a kid, just a young kid, and I just happened to see something in the cabinet, and I reached down and picked it up, and I'll be darned, man, it was a .22 pistol loaded with the bullets. And I'm just a little kid. But I was going to tell you a crazy story. I was at the creek one time years ago when I was hunting, and I looked down and a moccasin was real close, too close to me. So I shot my shotgun.
Seeing one is too close for me.
Hey, I shot that shotgun, and you will not believe what happened.
What?
That mud was so soupy that when it hit the mud, it bounced that snake over my head, 10 foot up in the air, probably.
Oh, man.
It scared me, believe me. But anyway, I know you're going to break.
Great story. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Mike, for calling in.
We'll be right back with more of Armed Alabama.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned, or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which will it be? I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Hanging in Fort Smith, that's Judge Parker there. I think the biggest, didn't have about 16 people hanged at one time, and he was personally against capital punishment, which is kind of interesting. But he did his duty, and of course that was his U.S. District Court district covered, Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma, Texas. So it was a lot of rough guys out that area. Let's see. I had one. There's been a lawsuit filed against the so-called bump fire stock ban. It's well done. Unfortunately, it has to be filed in the District of Columbia, but the judges there are usually pretty good. Honestly, if I was betting on it, I'd say no, because but better chance winning on appeal. But it's in the works. The date that those have to be destroyed or turned into the ATF is March 30th.
So that's right around the corner.
That's right around the corner. They've asked for a preliminary injunction, so hopefully it'll be enjoined, their application of the rule, until the court can hear it all, because it's so many things that they just really weren't truthful about. Taking into account how many there are there. This is the first time that we really think of, during Prohibition, they made alcohol illegal, but you could drink up your alcohol before it became illegal. This is a permanent fixture, and there's no grandfather. You have to destroy it or give it to them. And some of those, when they originally were for sale, and some of the fancy ones, several $100s. And just your property's being taken. And we still don't have any evidence any bump fire stock was ever used in a crime. All we have is just the talk that, Stephen Paddock had a number of them on his rifles in the room. But nobody's ever told me he used those to fire at people. So
I don't think he did.
We're doing all this. Yeah. Of course, it's typical of the United States. Public policies made by whatever, thing the TV can gin up excitement on.
Knee-jerk reactions.
Yes, absolutely. This is about the worst way to do it. Remember our number here, 343-0106, area code 251. You can listen to replays of this show either on the station's website, and that's www.fmtalk1065.com, or www.armedalabama.com. You can also listen to or rewatch the Facebook that's filming now if you're not in front of your computer, just by going to our Facebook page, and that is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 1065. And if you like the page, you get an alert when we go live. So that's probably the best thing to do. And I was pointing out to Adam that Johann Wolfgang Goethe, who's the man that wrote Dr. Faustus, a famous play, but he also has a lot of conservative commentary. He's one of the 100 giants of liberty that the online Library of Liberty has. But anyway, he stated the abolition of capital punishment leads to lynch law and vendetta. In other words, you can do away with it, but there are going to be families that aren't going to be satisfied with their relatives being murdered and the murderer basically getting away with it.
Hey, Judge, there was a caller that called Phil, and he texted it over, wanting to know if DeSantis can revoke the felon voting rights. And that's an item that's in the news a lot lately.
Yeah, I think that was an amendment. It would have to be an amendment to our Constitution. I think it was down there because they had a vote. And, I used to be felons shouldn't vote. Or own guns. But, considering the federal government, they've tried to calculate how many felonies they have, and they stopped about 10 years ago at 8,000. They don't have any idea.
Yeah.
So if you're a felon because you put the lobsters in the wrong kind of boxes, you put them in plastic boxes instead of cardboard boxes. So, I would be in favor if anybody asked me to limit it to violent felonies.
Yeah, I would agree.
Otherwise, if you serve your time, then you get your rights back.
I think so, yeah. I think, you want to protect your wife and family, whoever, yourself. And, considering there's just so many silly felonies out there. But, an armed robbery, a murder, burglary, yeah, sure. But they're basically check fraud cases that you can be convicted of a felony on. So, if nobody wrote bad checks, the state of Alabama would go bankrupt. The state makes so much money off the fees for bad checks. So it's just one of those things again. Things are out of kilter, and I don't know that they're ever going to go get back in kilter. Do you know there's greater pleasure in picking up a small pearl in an ash can than in looking at a large one in a jeweler's window? How about that? I would agree with that too.
Where did that come from?
That is the guy I quoted before, Lin Yutang, and he was a Chinese. He actually attended Harvard and lived here long. But in the 30s, he was a prolific writer, and I hate to even admit how I got onto his writings, but it's from listening to Michael Savage. And, I got the book, and boy, when I saw the chapter, The Art of Loafing, I thought that's for me. So, and he does, part of his philosophy is you need to appreciate just living.
Yeah.
We rush by so fast, we don't appreciate the smell of the air, the look of the sky, anything like that.
Speaking of Michael Savage, I mean, he's really been savaged. He's really been embattled.
Oh, yeah.
He is now just down to 1 hour because the left has attacked him by going after his sponsors.
Yeah, that's their tactic.
And advertisers. So they have left his show and has left him with only 1 hour. Of course, if you like to be a sponsor or if you like to advertise your business here on Armed Alabama.
In particular, since I've got the machete, if anybody is a knife sharpener, sells knives, that would be a good addition here. Plus, we need somebody that does either Duracoating or Cerakoting. That's the kind of new age.
Yeah, because we always have people that email or call in and ask about that,
as well as security fencing, because that's kind of incorporated in our class, and it'd be nice to have somebody to recommend.
Of course, if you'd like to support our show individually, we have a Patreon account that we don't talk about it enough. But this is the new year, and we're going to be doing new things. So definitely, if you'd like to support our show, you can go to Patreon, and we have a link to that from our website. Is that correct, Judge?
Yes.
So can I charge that to a credit card?
You can.
Yep. You can either make a one-time or a
make
recurring.
it a monthly deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure can. We get
$1, $2, $10, or $100. You can do either way.
Right. It's there's good and bad. Patreon's kind of been involved, like Google and some of the censorship, but we're flying under the radar right now, so we'll just stay there. I want to thank again Steve Moore, Mobile law firm, handles personal injury, located at 8 North Dearborn Street. Call him if you have just a question. Hey, you might not want to sue somebody, but you may have medical bills. I had a woman on our jury one time that getting up, she fell over 2 or 3 people. And they, I'm hurt. I said, I'll try it. She had no insurance, of course. She rode to the hospital in an ambulance. I tried to get the county to pay for it. They had called before 2 that afternoon, the hospital wanting the money. I finally did, which we had no obligation to do, but I thought it was decent anyway.
The right thing to do.
Right. And remember, of course, McCoy Outdoors, for anything remotely close to sporting, shoes, guns, ammunition, and they're on Spring Hill Avenue just west of the I-65 overpass. We'll see you next week next week we're going to be on in the day. We're going to be on at 1 o'clock in the daytime next Tuesday, so we'll see you then.